Hey there, happy Monday, it's me Victor. Hopefully you had a great trading day. Sorry for kind of being not hosting lately. Life's been kind of hectic. Everything's been fine, just been adjusting to moving soon to a different city. So other than that, everything's been going well. GPUS is today's EP of the day. 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. And I'm just going to keep this one sweet and short, and I want to understand. Again, if we just getting into trading, you always want to start with why, okay? That is a big thing about anyone coming into this. Anyone could tell me what they do, but why do you do what you do? Always ask why. Why do you trade the setup you trade? This is an episodic pivot, or we call it a first screen day. And again, I have a video on this on my YouTube channel, what classifies as an episodic pivot. Again, think of it as a way of it's a momentum shift. It's a change within the company. It's a dramatic shift, and pretty much on a neglected stock. That's what you look for. A stock that has a chart like this, been beaten down and out of the blue with news, earnings, gap up, and again, always the key things, in my opinion, volume, volume, volume. Look at the volume. Roughly 300 million shares on the day, compared to prior. The long-term chart is not ideal. As you can see, they've done numerous reverse stock splits. This never gone to this. They've done so many splits in the past, at least, but this has ran in the past. But there's been so many reverse stock splits. That's where it shows how the prices. But they had news on this, earnings today, and again, they had surpassing guidance. It's not official. It's preliminary. But your goal, so these numbers, they're not lying. I don't think they can lie, but you really want to trade the hype, trade the news, okay? Because something like this is a lot different than trading something, in my opinion, like how it was back in the day with Root. Root is setting up still, but they had earnings last year, even longer than that. Last year, this is a 5-star EP. This earnings galore. Okay, it's much different on this type of setup, Root, because this does have actual buyers. This company actually does have institutions buying this up. Every time it dips, there's institutions buying it all the time. And this is actually a 5-star setup. And 5-star, it's creating a flag pattern, so ideally over time over 150s. But compared to the stock I just showed you, GPUS, this is a piece of shit company. Okay, I'm pretty sure 5 years, 10 years down the road, whatever this is, this company will likely not make it. Again, most of these penny stocks, micro runners, will not make it. It's an aerospace defense, so it's a hot sector play. But again, I saw the guidance, okay, preliminary data, year-over-year growth. I saw it, but it's not official. The earnings date, it's still coming. I think, to be honest, I was even looking at this. I saw the news, earnings, year-over-year growth, but I always want to pay attention to the chart. The chart tells the story, and with the news, again, this is one thing. People think, oh, this news is shit, let's short this. No, you don't short this. Okay, this is rule number one on a day one runner in any particular stock. Of course, there's variations with a gap short. A gap short is a different type of pattern I'm not going to dive into. That's one I track. But the odds say it's really not ideal to short on day one of a move. Because look, this is what happens. You call this a dip and rip. Okay? A dip and rip. It pretty much traps them out of the gate. It traps them out of the gate. And I got long at 380. 380. Pretty much over this high of daybreak. Right before 4 is where I got long. Because I saw it. I saw what was going to happen. And you don't know I didn't know this was going to go to high of $9. No one knew that. With these micro runners, again, I don't really trade these well, swinging these, compared to trading something like Root, the ones I showed you, because with these are purely based off momentum. Therefore, they can have high volatile moves, but that's not saying that they can't potentially have another leg higher. Just like how we've seen on the recent supernova CEP. No one thought this was going to go to the high of $10, the high of $60. No, it's just a short trap. 5-star range break right there. Same setup. Okay, big move, pullback, moving averages, range break, 5-star, 5-star. I did buy that. I did buy $35. I sold like a little bitch at 45. I didn't hell to 60. I wasn't following my rules. That's what happens. Oh well. But it's just a lot easier for me to hold a swing stock like Team C, or which is setting up very nicely, or like HIMS, for instance, because these are actually companies that have institutions buying them. Okay, it's very unlikely they're going to raise intraday stock value, like an offering, or like Root, or like POTR, for instance. It's funny. Again, this is a lesson learned. You never hold a stock through earnings. Look at this shit. Rule number 1. Okay, do not hold a stock through earnings, because this shit happens. It's you're playing guessing games. Yes, you may get lucky in 1 and 2, but over the course of your trading career, most of the time you will lose if you bet against earnings or trade through earnings. Just don't do it. I've learned my lesson the hard way. But it's much easier to trade these out of the range breaks, out of the pivot points, rather than trading something like GPUS. I'm not saying I don't do it. I do, because I've seen this exact same play on these micro runners over and over again over the past 7 years. And again, how do I know that? Because you have to keep a database of stocks. I keep telling this over and over again. Okay, I have one for every year. Every year I've been in this business, I keep charts, and this is what you need to do. Okay, this is what you see. Look at this shit. Hold up. I'm trying to find this. This SOPA is the exact type of setup you're seeing right here on GPUS. It's not a coincidence. Okay, it's not random. Okay, different company, different ticker, same exact chart. They're the exact same type of chart. Look at this shit. I didn't make this up. I didn't even plan to look at this chart. SOPA, GPUS, same exact play. Dip and rip. The main cause of this, again, this did not go from 250 to high of 908 because of the news. No, it did not. It's a short squeeze, and you have to put things in the overall context. Whenever I see this stock, always ask why. Look at the shares float. Meaning, shares float means how much can trade at the open market. 1.34. Now, it's not really an exact science. No one's really going to know how much shares float are given. This is just an estimate, okay, to say. And again, what did I say? Look at the volume. This traded nearly 300. Wrong one. This traded nearly 300, I think. Yeah. $300 million, 300 million shares. So this rotated its float 300 times, pretty much. That's called float rotation. And I see people that are trying to short this, you know. And here's another thing, okay? Ask the why. Why did I get long this? Number one, because my confidence comes from seeing this stuff over and over again. That's where my confidence comes from. To you, this may be random. In the moment, you may not think what it's going to go. But the more you do this shit, the more you understand it's the exact same shit over and over again. That's my edge. That's one of my edges, is knowing that I have the confidence in the conviction to pull the trigger, knowing that the odds are likely going to say this is going to go higher. Again, it's not an exact science. It's not saying when I place a trade, I know 100% of the time it's going to go profit. No. I am taking the risk knowing that over the past years of my trading methodology, I've seen this type of variation of setup occur. And I'm willing to bet my money that I'm going to have a positive expectancy on this outcome of a setup. And it worked out very well. The exact same setup, dip and rip. Again, I really trade open range highs, episodic pivots, and you really want to trade this. You really want to get it out of the open, you know, the first 5-10 minutes. And I got it really at the first 15-minute mark. I didn't get long till 360. 360 I got long. And I sold very well in the high 7s, and I got long in this dip again. And I should be long overnight. It's in a gap up. But again, it's a short squeeze. And as I mentioned, you don't really want to short on a first green day. You just don't want to do it. Okay, the odds are against you. Always put things in perspective. Always put things in terms of risk to reward. Look at the downside. As I mentioned, this is a beaten down stock. As I mentioned, an episodic pivot main factor is a stock that is neglected. This stock is neglected. Look at the volume. Look at the chart. News, surprise at markets. Why would you want to short this? What is the risk to reward shorting this? Okay, what's your downside? Okay, for those people who are shorting this, and again, I'm not making fun of no one. Okay, I'm just trying to help you learn what is the down. What's the reward shorting this at 350? Yeah, risk that. I guess cool. If you risk that previous high day, yeah, cover. But what's your reward? What's it gonna go down to? $1? No stock ever goes down to one. No, you know what I'm saying? But look at the risk. Look at the risk. Okay, that's how you have to think. It's hard to think this way in the moment. But I just learned to don't short these on day one of a move, okay? It's not worth the stress. It's not worth the anxiety. It is not, okay? I've seen plays galore happen over and over again. Just like the recent one with CEP I just showed you. Everyone was shorting this one and their mother. And it's just the exact same shit. HTZ with a setup I was long, it failed. But same type of play, you know, shorting on day one of a move right here, and it just leads to stuff. Although this setup is a different variation, this is as well as an EP. I was ideally going for that range break, and sometimes I did get long right here. Sometimes setups don't work. That's what happens in the markets. I got a comment earlier, Hertz failed. Cool, whatever. Understand, this is not called being right. It's called trading. Get used to losing. Get used to getting stopped out. I had a game plan. Out of millions of trades I take in my career, I would take this trade over and over again. Because in the hot market, this would have gone to probably 9 plus, 10 plus. So I don't regret taking that trade at all. But what is it saying? I forgot what I was saying. I forgot. But the point is, don't short on the first green day of a runner. Okay, that's my main point. Okay, and we can find other setups, examples, but it's just I want to keep this short and sweet, because if you don't short on the first green day of a runner, you're gonna save a lot of money. Okay, it's just that's how simple it's gonna be. So just don't do it. Don't do it. And I should be long this overnight, but I'm not. This likely is gonna do something funny tomorrow. I can see this easily doing something like. It's gonna gap over 9 for sure. I don't see how this doesn't gap. Ideally 9 plus. Ideally, who knows what happens. But if it doesn't gap, cool. It could fade. Who knows? Again, it's about playing the odds. Okay, that's one thing about trading is that you don't have to be right. You don't have to know what's gonna happen next to make money. You just have to know the setups. Okay, the setups. But 5-star again. Always know the why. Again, this is a pretty much an episodic pivot on a micro runner. Now again, I much like an EP on a larger mid-cap stock because they have, again, institution buying pressure. Compared to this, there's no institution buying this shit. I guarantee you, there's none. It's just retail traders, and it's just momentum. So it's less likely to make a big run on a long period of time, but this can make a big run on a short time frame. And that's what I'm trying to do, is take advantage of a piece of a pretty much a market inefficiency. Take a piece of the pie to say. But 5-star dip and rip ideal. Again, don't short on the first green day. It's just the odds are against you. Always look at the shares outstanding. Always look at the float, and always consider the risk to reward on every trade. Okay. But other than that, that's all I want to talk to you about today. Other than that, no really other setups I'm seeing. HIMS has been a great one so far. Congrats to everyone to get long this one. Short interest is extremely high on this one. I did not get long. I just put that arrow there. That was the buy point, pretty much over that level. But other than that, we can go over some. QSG has been a nice one. The quantum sector has been basing really well. I would not be surprised to see a bounce on that one eventually. TMC I am watching over 320. I like how it's holding these ranges here on the daily chart. So we'll see the sector play with metals. Donald Trump had some things to say about that. OST, same type of setup. Pretty much looking for a potential liquidity trap over 340. The longer it holds, $3, the better. I'm on that one. Other than that, I'm trying to see. Most of these are thin names. AVA earnings has been a nice earnings winner. Too late to say. And this is what you want to see. You know, earnings, basing, and surfing the moving averages. And you want to buy just right. You know, you could buy it there, but I see a lot of people, let's say, buy it cheap. No, you want to buy it just right. And over $8, you know, that's going to be a potential setup. And look at the long-term chart. Look left. Again, look at the volume. Well, they've done a reverse stock split, so it could be out of date. But the volume's there, so who knows? I can see this doing something crazy. Not crazy, but the ADR is roughly 10%. And that's another thing to note. GPUS, ADR is 22%. Crazy. Higher the ADR, the higher it can go. Gold. Other than that, that's really all I'm seeing. Roots. I'm watching for sure root over. It's like kind of a every 140s. But that's really it. I don't see nothing else. CEP, ideally a dead cat bats, eventually over 35. Let's see, go over this quick. UPXI, no. See, all these are on my backlist. I have these stocks on my backlist, and I need to take some of them off. But this is what you need to do: just keep stocks on backlists, and just most of them develop. Pony was one I was kind of sad on. This is a setup that I thought would have gone on Friday. I took it long out of that range break there. Nice bounce off the, really the nice bounce off the 50 on the daily. But it didn't work out. And I guess same deal with Hertz. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That's the art of trading. But if it does hold this base level 950, then who's to say it can't go again? So I'm watching that one. It's AI theme. This has ran in the past, so that's what I'm watching. Tisha got away. Jesus Christ. This is the 5-star setup. I'm not really sure how I missed this one, but 5-star, 5-star. Again, pretty much same thing. Look how it's sideways pattern. Of course, hindsight's always 20/20 on that one. Let me see. Again, most of the stuff, guys and gals, is waiting. You know, it's one of the hardest things to do is do nothing. And I guess as you develop as a trader, you're gonna realize most of the shit's boring. Most of the shit is just waiting for setups to emerge and pulling the gun. You know, you don't have to trade every day. Like, I go on the markets every day and I have scans and I have big percent gainers and ULEY. I'm watching recent runner. I like how it's basing on the 10-day over $11 for sure. For some, pretty much like a dead cat bounce. Ideally fade, but if it does have potential to go, the ADR is really high. So that's price alerts on that one. But as I was saying, you don't have to trade every day. You know, it sounds counterintuitive, but you don't have to. But that's really all. GPUS 5-star. Ideally gap up. But other than that, hopefully y'all enjoyed this, and I will see y'all next time.